Welcome to CEWT Talk. This broadcast is brought to you by the Continuing Education Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. This podcast is part of our continuing outreach efforts, and the format is conversational. We will be having conversations with businesses, professionals, entrepreneurs, community agencies, and, in all cases, difference makers. Now, let's get started with CEWT Talk. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to CEWT Talk. I'm Gary Salazar. I'm the Director for Continuing Education Workforce Training. And joining us today, we have Zach Payton. He is the Outfit Manager at South Fork Outfitters.
In Swan Valley, Idaho.
In Swan Valley, Idaho. And you also own your own business.
Down in Florida Keys, yep. Skinny Salt Charters.
Great. Skinny
Salt means
Skinny
shallow.
Salt Charters. All right, we're going to talk about that today. This is going to be really interesting because I don't know very much about fish except I can't catch anything. And having Zach here today is going to be wonderful. So we're going to talk to him about fly fishing, a little bit of the business, and just have a fun time. So let's begin with Zach. Thanks for joining us here at CEWT Talk. Really appreciate it. We had a chance to meet a couple times before, and I found out that you did this. I thought, what a great conversation this could be. So maybe we could just start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this business.
Well, my name's Zach Payton. I'm born and raised in Pocatello, Idaho. I was going to ISU, trying to get into the engineering program, and did various internships at Simplot, ITD, Idaho Transportation Department. And I decided to take a summer off and go work somewhere else. And at the job fair at ISU here, the food and beverage manager was down here trying to get people to bartend and serve. And I went up, and during the summer, we didn't have to be to work till 5 o'clock. And he had a drift boat. So he was generous enough to let us take his drift boat every day. So it was the ideal job. Got to fish all day. Didn't have to be to work until 5. Got to meet a lot of really, really great people. And I did that for 2 years, and it just really grabbed a hold of me.
So the engineering degree went away?
Went away. So in that time, I was still teaching at ISU in the sports science department as an adjunct professor.
Cool.
I taught rod building, fly fishing, beginning, intermediate, advanced. And so it kind of morphed into a year-round thing fly fishing did.
Oh my gosh. So you knew something about fly fishing before this happened, right? You'd grown up here in Pocatello, you fished in Idaho, you already had that bug.
Yeah, my father was great in that, from the time I was very, very young, I'd stay at home while he was gone. I got to go everywhere with him. So whether it be on Topons Creek or up in the Stanley area, our family was always outside and interactive with the outdoors, so it was really great.
This is a fantastic place to grow up. I mean, Idaho's got some really good reputation for fly fishing around here.
Absolutely.
Some great holes just north of us. I keep hearing about like South Fork.
South Fork, Henry's Fork.
Ah.
I mean, there's a lifetime of fishing and water around here.
You know, I have a brother-in-law says the same thing. He said, and he came up here for the first time, and he goes, "This is just amazing."
Mm-hmm.
And he is so into that. He's from Colorado. He came up here and goes, "This is incredible. I got to come back." So you must run into that a lot with your business.
We do. We get people from really all over the world and various walks of life, and they all are blown away. And it's right at our footsteps and right out our back door, and a lot of people, I don't say don't know it's there, but they just get caught up in the way of life, and we are truly blessed, the area we're in.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's cool. So I want to talk a little bit more about the business side. Now, you're an outfit manager.
Correct.
And as an outfit manager for South Fork Outfitters, what does that mean?
Well, the state of Idaho is set up, unlike Montana or other places, where you have to be a licensed outfitter, and the guides have to be licensed guides working for a licensed outfitter. Say we're Montana, you can just get your guiding license and pretty much go everywhere. So I have 26 guides, 4 shop employees, and a lot going on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you have to be licensed, and as guides, they have to be licensed as well?
Correct.
What does that mean? What do you have to do to be a licensed outfitter or a guide?
So there's kind of an internship program that we go through anymore. A lot of other places offer outfitting schools. Worldcast does. ISU used to do it as well. But you pretty much go through 1 to 2 years in the shop, working through getting to know how to interact with the clientele that we have. Also, just like I did, being out on the water every day, getting to know the river, because the South Fork is a big girl. She will sneak up on you very quickly, and you have to be competent enough to manage the boat down the river where there's very little going on from the rower's point, and concentrating on the fishing for the people and holding a certain distance from the bank. You can't be in and out and all over. It's not so much like whitewater rafting where you point her down the middle and go for it.
Try not to hit too many rocks.
Yeah, rocks are bad. It's really about the fishing and the clientele and it just being seamless for them.
Zach, on that training, do you also have to do any survival or first aid training with that?
Yeah, we go through a bunch of that stuff. You have to have your first aid CPR. You pretty much go through the crash course of me or Chris or some of the other senior guides where we'll sit in the front of the boat and you have to manage it to where we don't feel dangerous. And until that time, you don't get to guide. You have to do 2 training trips on each section with a licensed guide before you get signed off, and then it gets sent to the Idaho Outfitting Board, and they do the finishing steps.
We have a board.
We do.
So when you say finishing steps, they have to take an exam?
Well, they look into your past, whether you've had any infractions that they think are out of line for them. It's actually pretty surprising how stringent they are on things.
It's a background check.
It's a full background check, yep. If felonies, all the way down to traffic violations, you have to disclose everything because, again, you literally have people's lives in your hands and it's very easy to put them in danger when there's water involved.
I didn't realize it was that complex. I just thought maybe just somebody who's been outside can, get hired on and take people. It's not like that at all.
No, the state of Idaho is set up for public use instead of private use. So commercial use, so they regulate everything. And each outfitting permit can only have 12 guides on it. And there's a total of only 7 or 8 on the South Fork. So in order to break into the top tier of guides, it takes years. I've been doing it 20 years. My head guide Brad's been doing it close to 30. Ed's been doing it 35. So the tier level they set the bar very high, and it takes a while.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. So they limit the number of guides who can guide on a river or a section of a river?
Correct.
Wow.
So it's like any other job, whether it be, in business or whatever, it takes dedication to get to where you want to be. You don't just, like say in Montana, I got a license, I'm going to go do it.
Right.
You have to put your dues in and your time in and start off on the job that nobody wants to get to the job you want. So
that's pretty cool. That is really cool. I didn't realize all that. All right, so the business that we're talking about here, the one that you are the manager of the outfitters for, they've been in business for at least 20 years?
Well, the lodge was built in 2001, and that's when Mark Rockefeller bought it. No, actually, he bought it in 97. The lodge was built in 2001, but Spence Warner, the previous owner, had it for, 20 years prior.
Oh my gosh, so when you say lodge, you're talking about a lodge where the business is housed, or is this also where lodging?
Yeah, our outfitter sits right by the river. It's a separate building, and then we have a lodge that sleeps up to 36 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's
Pretty good business, huh?
Yeah.
it's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah. What are the busy times of the years for you with this?
Our busy times, we open in late May and we run through October. The heyday season is usually June through first part of October, but the fishing on the South Fork is an anomaly. It's good whenever you go, unless they jack the water really high.
Unless
Zach,
they jack the boat.
how much advance are you usually booked out?
I'm booked up pretty much a year in advance, but through our other guides, we typically always have availability. It helps not to book the day before you want to go, but we do still you will get lucky sometimes because we have our sister company, Henry's Fork Anglers, up on the Henry's Fork, lets us use some of their day trips. So we actually have 16 boats a day that we can run, and we work with them and get more if needed. So we're very fortunate on that end.
So these are day trips where you go out and come back in and stay at the lodge, or do you go out and camp along the river?
We have a private camp on the river. It's kind of like camping. It's more glamping. There's wall tents with there's actual beds in the tents. But we go down through the canyon section, and that's a 2-day float. And we have one of our camp jacks come down, which is also kind of part of the internship and learning program, is you get to camp jack, which is a lot of fun.
Camp jack, would you define that for me, please?
Yep, you set up the camp. Well, set up meaning you make the beds. Prepare everybody's tents, cook dinner, breakfast, and you're pretty much in charge of just the flow of camp during while the guests are there.
All right, well, cool. All right, let's go ahead, Paul.
Oh, so your guests are they a higher income bracket, or the low, or are they all over the place?
It's from the highest of highs to the people that save their pennies, for 2 years to come do it, and we treat each one as they were the exact same.
That is awesome. All right. Tell me about the other business, your business that you have down in Florida.
Skinny Salt Charters, that's also a partnership with Natural Retreats, who owns South Fork Lodge. I go down there for 3 months a year. It was after, when I was teaching at ISU, the winter season for guiding is hard. You have to either save your coins during the summer to make it through winter or have something else to do. And that's why I taught at ISU. And then I just, the pull of the sun and the water took me down there through various friends fishing, and I've been guiding down there for 7-8 years now.
Oh my gosh, where's down there?
It's in the lower Florida Keys.
Florida Keys.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are we talking gator country?
Saltwater crocodile country.
All right.
Sharks, things like that.
All right.
I've been down a little bit of that neck of the woods. You walk along the beach. There's sharks. There's little sharks following you along the side. That's a beautiful place, and that's got to be a different kind of a fishing. Are you still fly fishing there?
It is. I do both down there, just because the rod differences. It takes some skill and practice them and know how to manage the tool. So I do spinning rod as well. Okay. Whether it be live tackle, artificial lures, or fly.
Man, oh man. And people who would like to book with you on that, is that the same kind of thing? They got to get you kind of looking out ahead of time to reserve a spot?
Yeah, down in the Keys as well, it's more of an open free-for-all. However, there is a top tier. The local guides and stuff kind of have a hierarchy down there, but it takes time to break into it. They keep it pretty close to the belt when they're... Yeah. So it took a lot of time and perseverance to break in and have somebody even acknowledge your existence down there. So it's very different, very different.
Now, there's equipment involved with you. You have equipment at both locations,
At both locations,
all right,
yes.
Now, in your business, do you own that equipment?
Yes.
All right. So what happens to it when you're not down there in the winter up here?
Well, again, I'm very fortunate that I have clients that I've known for a long time, and my boat is sitting very happy at their ranch, covered and taken care of.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to have friends.
It is very, very good.
All right. So what's the long-term plan for you with this? You're going to grow both of these?
I, again, have been fortunate. I'm at a stage now where it has grown beyond where I could ever imagine. I mean, down in the Florida Keys, in the time frame I'm down there, I only have 12 days available still, and during the summer I'm at max capacity really, and work 7 days a week, 4 days managing, 3 days guiding, and go for it.
So you don't take vacations. This is your vacation.
I live other people's vacations. Yeah, people pay to do what I do. We joke around, we get paid to play. We do vacations. I do get to travel a lot. We do have in the off seasons and stuff like that. I do travel quite a bit.
Yeah, I was wondering, this is a phenomenal job for somebody who likes to do this. This is just incredibly fulfilling. But you want to stay current with the field or the craft of fishing.
Correct.
There's new equipment that comes along. I mean, how do you stay up with all of that?
Well, being a big retailer shop, we are kind of force-fed it. So we have reps coming in constantly, selling new merchandise, new products. We go to fly fishing shows, which are held regionally. There's smaller ones from Idaho Falls, larger ones in Salt Lake, huge ones in Denver and other big cities. and those are held, every few months. They have one at a different site, so you can keep up with, what other outfitters are doing, rod technology, various things.
Wow. So you stay busy just about all year round.
Yeah.
Barely have time to eat lunch, is what it sounds like, but you're having fun at it. So the engineering degree idea is really in the past. Will you ever get back to something like that, or you think you'll stay with this?
It is something that definitely sticks with me. I quit a little early, and I would recommend to people, even if you are looking at different fields or whatever, to always finish what you started. And that is one of the regrets I have. A retail manager is a lawyer. He guided, through college and stuff going through. Took a couple years outside of the field when got his law degree, worked in Houston. He's very, very, very intelligent guy, and he decided it just wasn't for him, and had various opportunities where he could leave that field and kind of came back to what he loved to do, and he's very good at it.
So neat, so neat. I don't know that there's a lot of folks who get to follow a passion and make a living at it, but good for you for finding that.
Yeah.
If somebody else wanted to jump into this business, somebody says, I love fishing so much, this is what I want to do, what would you recommend they do as a start?
There's a lot of different things, and that applies to a lot of different fields. We have hospitality managers, our general manager and all through. We have chefs, our full kitchen staff, that went to culinary schools. All the people kind of have a central thread that they are professionals in what they do, but they still love fishing in the river. That being said, you do have to start off at the ground level if you're wanting to get into guiding, unless you have, massive amounts of experience on other rivers and we kind of know who you are, you still have to run the paces. Because again, the South Fork, a lot of rivers at other times say you're flowing at 1 to 3 or 4,000 CFS. It's a big flow. The South Fork during the summer will pump 14 to 16,000 CFS that you're actively guiding it.
Is cubic
Feet per second. So think of
That's
it
a lot of
as 16,000 basketballs going by every second. It's a lot.
That's
And-
a great visual.
Yeah.
So Zach, you're taking people out to do fly fishing, right?
Yep.
Now, I know a gentleman who used to, make his own flies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, those are two separate things in the fly fishing world.
Oh,
isn't it?
absolutely. You're kind of talking about, the fly tying world. It's kind of their whole separate sect of, crazy, scientists in the corners. But the ingenuity of it in that whole aspect as well is just as creative as, how you row a drift boat or manage anything. It's a whole nother world. It's the art field of fly fishing that has no limits.
Well, and I know that the gentleman I knew, you could have a half-hour conversation on just this one fly that he made.
Oh, yeah.
Do you find that?
Yeah, when you go with a couple of the professors on the river, say Ken Burkholder, Larry Larson, which runs Snake River Angler here in town, they will go through, they'll pull out a bug and you'll have a half-hour conversation about the bug and fish it for 30 seconds. It's that's what they do, yeah. So
There's the zen of fly fishing.
So do you tie your own flies?
yeah, it's something I never got into for a long time. I said, there's snipers and spotters, there's people that make bullets. I was the guy that I was more of the fisherman aspect of it. And through what I do now, I've developed a couple flies and, I was fortunate enough to get second in the Jackson Hole 1 fly this last year on a fly I really tied. And I never really thought about how much, that you kind of did everything in the whole process from tying the fly to fishing the fly to casting it. And it was very gratifying, yeah. So.
Really, fly fishing is like the zen of fishing, right?
Absolutely. And that's...
Don't forget the fish now. There's probably certain fish out there going, I'm looking for a fly, and they're not going for anything.
That's the thing. If you talk to fly fishers, because I don't fly fish, but I've had plenty of conversation. Actual catching a fish is not a gigantic thing that comes into the conversation a lot of times.
It's the fly.
It's the fly, and it's the casting, and it's everything else. But the actual catching the fish doesn't come into the conversation a lot.
There's kind of a progression we talk about in fly fishing. Like when you're starting off, you just want to catch a fish. And then you want to catch a bunch of fish. And then you just want to catch big fish. And then you just want to go fishing. So,
It's like going full circle.
yeah.
This is awesome. I want to give you an opportunity to, tell us a little bit about how would people get a hold of you if you're at South Fork Outfitters or if we're doing skinny salt charters. Is there a way that if somebody sees this and goes, I want to talk to Zach, how would they reach you?
They can call us at our fly shop at 208-483-2112, or my cell phone is the best way to get a hold of me for the saltwater stuff is 208-241-1072. And we also have a website, which is naturalretreats.com.
Cool. Very cool. So, what a great thing. Whether it's wintertime or summertime, fly fishing is available, and there's some great sources for you. And Zach, man, you got a great job.
I do love it.
People were envious. And how about that? It's time to stop our Sweet Talk interview. This is great.
Cool.
Zach, that's perfect timing. Did you have a question? You were trying to get to something?
Well, I think you kind of answered how from Idaho to Florida.
At the time, I was a junior guide, and two of the head guides, a husband and wife team, they would go down to Florida and do what I did, the back and forth every year, and we would con them into, pay for their fuel and dinners and leave them a tip at the end. And so I was fortunate enough to be trained by them, and they were extremely generous and good. I bought one of their boats when they were getting out of it. And,
Excellent.
Yeah. A lot of things fall into place for this, but this is awesome. Let's go ahead and close this up. Our time is up, and thanks to Zach Payton for talking to us today with some great stories and information about fly fishing, fly guiding up here in Idaho, beautiful Idaho, down in Florida Keys. Mm-hmm. Two great opportunities. Zach, it's been terrific speaking with you. I hope some people in the audience have gotten some insights into this thing. If you need to find out more, if you want to follow us on anything else, I need to talk to you about an outfitting school. Maybe there's some opportunities for Sweet with that. But I hope you'll take a look at our website, cetrain.isu.edu, and let us know what you think about the podcast, about these interviews, suggest anything else, and thanks for joining us on Sweet Talk. We're done.
Thanks. Awesome.
Cool, man.
Yeah, thanks.